Hello, I'm Malorian, and this is the Orc Tactical Team. And what we're going to be talking about today is Black Orcs. So, Black Orcs in 7th really had a harsh deal, and they weren't really that good. The problem was that they died just the same as a regular Orc, but they cost twice as much. On average, they usually got charged, destroyed, and they're just a waste of points. In 8th, though, everything has changed. So, the reason why everything has changed for them is, first of all, there's a normal thing where whenever they get hit and charged, they're going to be hitting back. I mean, as long as they're not being wiped out, they're going to be getting these attacks back. And seeing as how they have great weapons, and they're one of the only orc units that actually can have great weapons, they can actually put out a lot of hurt. You know, their weapon skill 4, they have strength 8, they can really hurt quite a bit. And before I go too far, I think I should touch on this one rules issue that we have with them. Now, in 8th, there's also a rule that whenever you have a special weapon, you have to use it, and you can't use your hand weapon. Now, they have an arm to the teeth rule, which means that they can always choose between having a great weapon, having 2 hand weapons, or having a hand weapon shield if you paid for the shield. Now, the way that it works is people are wondering, like, does that mean that you're forced to use a great weapon all the time? Well, no, it's not. What it does mean is because the 2 hand weapons, even though they're hand weapons, it's stated as having 2 hand weapons in the book are a special type of weapon. So that's a fair one, that there's no debate there. You can use that one. The problem is the hand weapon shield, and that's because it is still just a hand weapon, because a choppa is a hand weapon. So there's some debate whether you can do it or not, because whether the arm to the teeth rule bypasses it. In the end, I don't think that debate's even worth touching, because I don't think they're worth going with hand weapon shield, because if you wanted a defensive unit, you have so many other options in the orc army. I mean, you could have just take regular orcs. Better yet, you could just take night goblins with nets. So why would you take them as a defensive unit? So you're either going to be going with great weapons almost all the time, and then maybe double choppas if you're against skinks or something. So that's a debate out there. I just want to touch on it, but if you ask me, you shouldn't even be worrying about it. Running along with that, like I was saying, they're supposed to be your real offensive unit for orcs. I mean, you can upgrade things to take big guns or something, but if you really want to have a big hit, you need to go with guys that have great weapons. And like I said before, they're your only choice. They are more expensive, but a big thing with 8th is that everything's all about objectives. In the end, victory points don't really matter as long as you take that building. As long as, you know, you wipe out and kill his unit with his general, his BSB, so that in the blood or glory, you're ahead on those points, right? And as I've said before as well, the bigger these units get, the better. Because all it is, it turns into point denial, and the way it works, where if you hit on the flanks, they don't lose steadfast, you might as well make them as big as possible so that they can't be taken out. The only thing that even holds you back is terrain, because if you go into woods or a river, then you lose that. But otherwise, this is what I was showing you here before, is I have this unit now where I have a horde of 40 Black Orcs. And I mean, if these guys get into combat, including the champ there, that's 31 weapon skill 4, strength 6 attacks. I mean, they're just going to be destroying units that they're up against, right? So, very dominant, very powerful. And another nice thing with them too is that when you wah, they're going to automatically pass that and be running up. With this, you can definitely use them as your central unit. You know, behind them you can have your bunker, which will be perfectly protected by them. If you want to go in further, you can always put Grimgore into them, and then they're rerolling the hit and they're crazy. I think it is somewhat viable to have smaller units. You know, let's say you had a unit just of 15 or 10 or something like that that's on the flanks, because they still do pack a good punch. They kind of fight the position with the chariots, with being this support punch unit. The nice thing that they have is that they'll keep on hitting all the time, whereas the chariot's a little bit more faster, longer charge, and smaller frontage. So it really depends what you're doing, and like I said, with that auto wah, if you have some of these units on the flank, they can quickly be able to rush up and be able to get in. So that's something to really keep in mind. There's not really much else I can say about them. They're just the orcs' hardest hitting unit. In 7th they were useless, and in 8th they're very powerful. And if you don't have, a horde of 40, maybe just try it out sometime, right? Just take a unit of orcs, a big horde of them, and say to your buddy, hey, I just want to try this out for the game, just to see how it goes, because I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's all I want to say for today on them, and I'll be right back with a second video right away here for this weekend, so stay tuned. Bye.